So the big question is this: how are those in the self-storage industry like us going to be successful in today's market? That's the question, and this show will give you the answers. My name is Jim Ross, and welcome to the Self-Storage Show. Hi everyone, this is Jim Ross from the Self-Storage Show. Today's episode is going to be a fun one and timely. Got Warren Dazzio here from Cost Segregation Services. Got a nice presentation for us. Sometimes we kind of just do a little back and forth, but we actually have a presentation this time, so I'm looking forward to it. So anyway, how's it going, Warren?
Going great, Jim. How about you and the rest of the crowd out there, man? Hope you guys are hanging in with this crazy new reality we have, you know. Pray for you guys that all goes well and you stay healthy.
Yeah, we're all hunkered down in our bunkers and our homes, and we're doing this. So anyway, doing this kind of a video is nothing new to me, but hey, this is what everyone's doing right now, is on these Zoom calls. So yeah, we're all getting used to it. But with everything
Awesome.
going on and with COVID and all that, I know you reached out to me about some programs that might be good for the owners that are out there that might be able to take advantage of this kind of stuff. So cool. That's why we jumped on and have you come on, and we'll get this pushed out here. So I'll hand it over to you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and Cost Segregation Services, and then jump right into it.
Awesome. So yeah, our firm is called CSSI. We've been around almost 20 years, and we specialize in the tax law surrounding a commercial building. The CARES Act has a couple of really new, cool aspects that might allow you to actually get a refund back from the IRS. So that's kind of the stage we set as far as what we're talking about. We're using something that's been around a long time, cost segregation, and that is able to create what's called a net operating loss. And I'll kind of go into the details of how you can use that. But with the CARES Act, the IRS is allowing you to do a process that might allow you to get a refund back, and they haven't done that since prior to the last big tax piece, 2017 tax reform, Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. So I'll fire a few slides, and feel free to ask questions as we go. Many of you guys know my cohort, Don Little. Don and I go to a lot of the self-storage events, and we hated to miss everybody at this past one in San Antonio, but glad everybody's doing okay. So generally speaking, what I'm going to talk about helps decrease federal taxes and increase cash flow. And it does it two ways: either decrease taxes that you have to pay, or it might get a refund back. And the refund back piece is the CARES Act piece that they just gave. You know, if you extended your tax return, there's still an opportunity to gain from it. If you're paying quarterly estimates for 2020, still an opportunity to gain from it. The main thing we want to address, though, is those people out there that are having a difficult time right now with cash flow. What are some ways that you can generate cash flow? Many people are looking at the SBA loan deal, and that's a great aspect. Once you figure out all the paperwork, give Don or I a call, and we'll show you the next step to see if you can benefit from cost segregation. But who can benefit? Anybody that owns a building can benefit, but in particular, self-storage are great candidates. Whether you've owned it for many years or whether you've recently done improvements, the largest beneficiaries are going to be the people that own multiple properties. And again, what we talk about can apply to self-storage, warehouses, apartments, offices, restaurants, you name it. We've had quite a few restaurant owners calling us and asking us how can they can generate cash flow, because they in particular are really hit hard right now. So we talk about a lot of different tax laws. The tangible property regs are what's referred to as the TPRs, and then bonus depreciation came about through tax reform in 2017, the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. And cost segregation provides a lot of benefit to those two tax laws. And I need to update this slide. Now the CARES Act is a big piece that you can benefit from it as well, And so generally speaking, I'll breeze through this, but what's cost segregation? The long and short of it is the IRS says that you can depreciate a building two ways: straight line over 39 years, or you can break a building out into parts and pieces and identify 5-year assets, 7-year assets, 15-year assets. You then are able to accelerate the depreciation on those 5, 7, and 15-year assets. That creates a loss to offset your revenue, and it reduces your income taxes. The whole idea is that I can use the cash today instead of the IRS holding it over 39 years, or the government holding it for 39 years. And generally speaking, 30 to 80,000 per million in building costs. So if you have $1 million building, you're looking at somewhere between 30,000 and 100,000 in tax savings, and the self-storage facilities are on the high end of that range. And even if you've got a very small building, 200,000, we can still run the numbers on that. So what are the things we're accelerating 5 and 7 year? The easiest thing for you guys to understand is interior doors and movable wall partitions. If you're in self-storage and you have a client, if you have two 10 by 10s and a client says, I want a 10 by 20, you can remove that wall partition and make it a 10 by 20. So that's the type of stuff we're looking at. Specialty electrical, plumbing. If you have a wine cellar, the air conditioner that you use for that and some of the aspects of the cooler are going to be a 5-year asset. Outside, anything outside is basically a 15-year asset, and pretty neat the way that works. Kind of zipping through that, another great benefit is that if you have had a improvement that you've made in recent times, if you said, hey, I've owned my building for 30 years, but I just added phase 3, or hey, I had to go in and make a bunch of renovation and remodels and replacement. When you tear out all those assets, you tore off that roof and got rid of the doors and lights and you threw them in the trash and you renovated all that, you have a pretty significant write-off that's available from there as well, called a partial asset disposition. So when you do what we call a PAD, you have to receive the benefit from that in the same year that you do the tax year as you do the renovation, or you lose the opportunity to do that. All right, so here's a couple of examples for you. This is an auto dealership. We did a cost seg on the original building, and then basically a cost seg on the demolition, and then on the improvements they put in that building, and they got a $300,000 benefit. And I show that because it shows the original building and then the improvement and then the demolition as well. Here's a couple of self-storage examples, a non-climate self-storage facility, under $1 million facility, $45,000 in tax savings, a climate-controlled $3.6 million, a little more typical of what many of you might have, and a $500,000 benefit to that. And if you can see let's see, I'll lower this a bit, but the pediatric dental practice there, $208,000 on a $1 million shell, 2008 purchase, about $1.5 million, a $70,000 benefit from that. So here's a portfolio, a big box portfolio is converted to, guys that convert a Kmart or a Walmart into self-storage facilities. Huge. We created a $10 million deduction and a $4 million tax event for them.
Jeez.
And then on the right is an office, a group of offices, same kind of thing, a $2 million tax event for them. So one of the cool things is cost seg that took accelerated depreciation and now with bonus depreciation allows you to take it in the first year that you own your property, or the first year that you put it into service. So 100% bonus applies to anything that's newly purchased, newly constructed, an addition or a renovation. And bonus applies to a tax life with 5, 7, and 15. So if you have your building in a 39-year asset, you can't benefit from bonus. And by breaking it down with a cost seg, you're able to identify it and get the benefit from that. So let's kind of look at the big picture of things. This is an example of a few different types. If you see, there's a self-storage 5 or 6 down, and it gives you the benefit. If you would have done a cost seg prior to tax reform, you would have gotten $40,000 in your first year just doing a cost seg. With bonus depreciation, you get $219,000 in tax savings as an event immediately when you put it into service. Now, Here's the kicker from the CARES Act. So I've been talking now about cost seg and how that plays out. So the CARES Act, the newest thing they did was they allow what's called the 5-year loss carryback. It applies to 2018, 2019, and 20. Our pictures, is that covering up this screen a little bit, Jim?
Nope, we're good.
Oh, it's not? Okay, awesome. So here's how that works, okay? If I am a building owner and I do a cost seg, and what that requires me to do now, if I haven't filed my taxes for 2019, is let's say I generate a $300,000 cost seg benefit. No, let's look at the example we had was a $3.6 million self-storage facility, and it was a $500,000 benefit. Let's just call it a deduction. It's going to be way more than that, but if I have $100,000 in gains this year and I have a $500,000 deduction, I'm going to zero out my tax liability for 2009, and I have $400,000 left. So the IRS allows me to go back to 2014, 2015, 2016, amend those returns. And because I've already paid taxes in 14, 15, and 16, it's going to result in an overpayment. So what happens is the IRS issues a refund check back to you, the building owner, today in your tax time as real cash money. So that's the most impactful thing that's happened right now. So here's an example. John Smith has income for the past 5 years, and he's got a loss in 2019 generated from a cost seg study. Okay, his income for 14, 15, and 16 was 75,000, 150,000, 400,000. I pulled off 17 and 18 on this example just to fit it on this slide.
Sure.
In this case, John is going to roll a $425,000 loss back to the fifth year, 2014, and offset all of that income, then roll the remainder of that forward to 2015, then to 2016. So the end result is he's getting a $425,000 a loss, multiplied all that times the tax bracket, you're getting a $115,000 refund check back from the IRS. So that's the biggest impact that it's made. It's called a loss carryback. And if you're looking for cash flow and you've never done a cost seg study and you need cash flow now, could be a great thing for you to do. So you kind of see the bottom line, the losses can create an actual check back. It was not a self-storage owner, but I had a client out of Houston a few years ago do a cost seg on his properties. He got $900,000 refund check back from the IRS by doing this process.
Wow.
They disallowed it with the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act in 2017. So you haven't been able to go back. You haven't been able to do a carryback. And now because of the situation we're in, they're allowing it again so that people can get cash in their hands now. That's the whole purpose for it is, hey, we're struggling. We're having a difficult time. What can we do to get money now in order to make it through this difficult time? So that's where that's from. And the next couple of examples, hey, I've already filed my taxes. Can I still benefit? Yes. You can amend your 2019 return. And if the loss zeroes out, you have to zero out 2019 first. But so number one, you would zero out your 2019. So if you made money, you paid taxes, again, you're going to get a refund back. If you zero out your 2019 return, then you would go back to a prior year, and they require you to go to 2014, 5 years. Let's say, I don't know that I have this example, but let's say, hey, I had I want to apply, I haven't filed 2019, but I want to apply this cost seg to 2018. The CARES Act allows you to do the same thing. You can go to 18, amend that 18 return, and apply it backwards. Same thing. The whole idea is, what's the best year for you to use to generate a loss so that you might be able to get a refund back from that. Hey, I filed my taxes and I've owned my building for a long time. There's what's referred to as an automatic extension. All you have to do is file a form called a 3115 change of accounting form to add to your existing tax return. And it's considered an automatic extension. So same thing, end result could possibly be a refund or at least a reduction in the taxes that you paid for 19. So, you might get something back. And hey, can I still capture this if I extended my tax return? Absolutely. You can apply it to 2019 and zero out your taxes, or you apply to 2019, get a refund back. If you haven't paid, then you would pay less than you have to pay. Some people just said, hey, April 15th is the deadline, so I haven't paid any taxes. Well, and as well, you can apply it to 2020. And, in 2008, we had a restaurant owner who was struggling. She opened up a second business, and it was right when the economy tanked. Less people were going out to eat. We did a cost seg study for her, generated $70,000 that she was able to pay her taxes. She called us. She actually called our sales rep a saint. She said, hey, you guys saved me. I would have had to, at least close my second location, maybe gone into bankruptcy for my first location as well. So it's really an opportunity for cash flow to stay afloat. What do we need to do it? Just give us, if you have an existing building, you have a depreciation schedule. If you don't have an existing building and you just purchased one, what kind of building is it? In the case of self-storage, hey, it's 80% climate and 20% non-climate. I bought it in 2010 and it cost me $1 million. With that, we can run a pre-analysis that you can then have this discussion with your CPA and see if there's some kind of benefit for you. So pretty amazing thing. There's a couple of other things that apply, but this is kind of the heart of the matter that is really what I wanted to discuss. And question, I see your inquisitive mind thinking there, Jim.
No,
Any kind of questions you have?
no, I'm just thinking of everyone that's listening to this. So you can do an analysis just to kind of show them if there's an opportunity for them there at no cost, it looks like.
Yeah. We don't charge a dime for it. Any cost seg firm worth their salt should do the same thing.
Yeah.
In our case, we don't charge for it, and you give us a little bit of data, and you can see what's the type of building, description of the building, what's the cost,
Yeah.
when did you acquire it, maybe what's the address, and we go on Google Maps and look at it so we can see what it looks like, and why would we want to do that? Well, if you have a parking garage, sometimes in California, I've seen them have multiple layers underground. The numbers are going to be different than if you've got a big lot where you've got a self-storage facility sitting on a big parking lot. So
Sure.
Anyway, basic data, we run the numbers, and it creates, here's our fee to get it done, and here's the tax savings. We charge a fixed fee. We don't charge a percentage of the savings, so you know up front exactly what it's going to cost and exactly what the benefit is going to be. And then you can make that call. And we love to get CPAs on the phone with our clients and kind of talk through it and say, hey, you might have thought a cost seg may not have been a good idea in the past, but hey, we need the cash flow right now. This could be an opportune time. And really and truly, it takes us 6 to 8 weeks to get our work done. So, let's say 2 to 3 months is when you would get this cash flow, and being able to pull it out of your building.
Gotcha. So really you got nothing to lose, and everything to gain if it works out. So why not?
That's what we tell people when people say, I don't know, I'm like, run the numbers. Let's just have a discussion. So we run the numbers. We get partners on the phone and have webinars or conference calls with partners to see how we can help them. We get CPAs on the phone. If sometimes a CPA doesn't know how to apply this, most of them are very familiar with it, but sometimes they don't know how to apply it. Sure. In that case, we've got a full staff that can kind of walk them through them and coach them, how to take what we give them and apply it on the tax returns. We don't do tax returns, but we know how to do them, so we can kind of coach CPAs along. CPAs have to learn, hundreds of thousands of pages of tax law. We focus on a very narrow piece, and with that, we're able to kind of counsel and coach them on things they might need some help with. But we don't take their place. We really partner with a CPA to make it happen. And I'll ask you 2 questions that have come up for me. Someone says, hey, is this going to be an audit risk? And we actually ran it by a specialist out of Pittsburgh who's specialized in real estate and construction software.
Yeah. And
he said in 2008, when the economy went south, they did the same thing. They allowed this. He did this for a lot of people, and not one of them triggered an audit. And also, if for some reason they're audited, they can't go back and audit another piece of your tax return. The only thing that they can audit was to make sure you did this loss carryback correctly. So that was one question. He said, I feel 100% comfortable that it's not going to trigger an audit, And the other question I've gotten a little bit is, hey, even if we've already filed, even if we're at, can we still do this? And the answer is yes. There's pretty much a solution to, hey, I filed, I extended, I haven't filed, I'm waiting till September, October, whatever. There's a solution to be able to get it done, and that's when you weigh it. Well, what's it going to cost for my CPA to refund? To do an amendment on my tax return. Well, if it costs you $1,500 and a cost seg fee, a cost seg fee is $5,000 or $6,000. That's $7,500, and it's going to generate $100,000 in tax savings. Most people are going to make that trade anytime,
Yeah.
So that's the kind of idea behind it.
That math is not very hard. So my kind of math.
No.
So for everyone that's watching, we got the contact from here, but for everyone that's listening to this, tell us how they can get more information.
Oh, yeah, you got it. Well, you can go to cssistudy.com, and in this particular case, it points directly to me, www.cssistudy.com, or feel free to call Don Little or myself. My cell phone number is 225-241-9823. Don's cell phone number is 97. Oh, I got a typo on it. Oh, my goodness. On the page, I'm going to look it up while we're doing it. So I don't know how that happened, but Don Little's contact information. Give me 1 second and I'll pull it up. Don's cell phone is 972-333-5059. 972-333-5059. So sorry about that typo. Email address, donlittle@cssi-associate.com or Dazzio, Dazzio at costsegserve.com. Dazzio at costsegserve.com. So
Cool.
either way, we'd be delighted to run the numbers for you. We'd be delighted to get on the phone with you and your CPA and talk through if something that you can benefit from. At a minimum, what does it do? It reduces taxes now so that you've got cash flow to pay your employees to do other things. At a kind of home run, it could create a refund and you get a check back from the IRS, either way. And at the minimalist, we look at it and we say, hey, there's no benefit we can offer, and then you got a rock star of a CPA and he's already taken all you can possibly take. But, either way you win because you kind of see, hey, this is what's going on,
And then that's why I wanted to have you on, because right now with everything going on, if people can put some extra money back in their pocket, the better. So you got nothing to lose. Yeah. Reach out to you, go from there, see if the numbers pan out. If it works, great. Go from there.
Nothing to lose. And the timing is perfect. We're all kind of struggling to get through this crazy thing that we're going through. And if cash flow can help you, give us a call. The SBA loans are awesome. Lots of people are doing it, but that does have a finite amount that the government can give. The government's probably going to love the fact that this option is there for the people that can't all qualify for an SBA loan, So really pursue all the opportunities that you can, SBA, cost seg, a loss carryback, and hopefully we can all get this through together.
I was going to say the programs are there for a reason. They're there for you to take advantage of it. So if you can, great. Call the professionals, see if it works out. So again, thanks a lot, Warren, for taking the time, man.
You bet. Awesome. Appreciate you having me, Jim, and everybody stay safe and healthy out there. God bless.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Self Storage Show. Would you like some free stuff? Go to 3milestorage.com/free to find a list of items you can get for free that will help you dominate your 3-mile market. There, you'll find our free ebook, the Every Call Counts sales script, how to join our Facebook community, access to the next showing of the 3-day online summit, and whatever else we can think of to bring value to you and your self-storage business. So go to 3milestorage.com/free and enjoy.